Go ahead and get started. So today we are talking about 5 ways to stop sabotaging our success. And I have 5 different things I'm going to talk to you about, which are common that I see among my clients as a way that they kind of get in their own way of experiencing the level of success that they want to experience. So if you are experiencing any of these that I'm talking about today, the message I want to send you is that you're normal. These are things that I see often, especially with women. We are amazing at getting in our own way sometimes. So, like I said, we're going to be doing some discussion today. Feel free to participate in whatever level you feel comfortable. Again, sharing is a great way of normalizing all these things that we're going through. So the first one that I want to talk about is discomfort. And a lot of the clients that I work with tend, actually, not just clients, a lot of the women that I've met in my life, including myself, tend to misjudge the role that discomfort has when we are going for a goal, when we're trying to make an improvement in our life. When we are doing something outside of our comfort zone, it is completely normal to experience ugh. And by ugh, I mean discomfort, the the fear that something has gone wrong, the all the self-doubt comes crowding in and makes us want to stop whatever it is that we're doing to try to improve ourselves, to try to remove ourselves from our comfort cave. That discomfort is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. As a matter of fact, it is a sign that you are doing something right. Because if you remember from the lunch and learns that I've been doing now for a while, we talk about the primal brain and how the primal brain wants us to stay in our comfort cave, tucked neatly into our comfort zone, and does not like us to leave. So whenever we try to leave, one of the ways that it gets us to retreat and go back into our comfort cave is to send us feelings of discomfort, thoughts of discomfort. And I'm going to be talking about another way that we handle discomfort here in just a minute. But when you are doing something hard and it gets uncomfortable for you, like for me, it's like I notice like maybe a feeling in my stomach. I notice a tightness like in my arms, but I also notice like a jitteriness in my thoughts. Like, am I doing this right? Am I going in the right direction? That's kind of like what discomfort looks like for me. Anybody want to share what it looks like for them or what their experiences with discomfort when they're doing something new or hard or outside of their comfort zone?
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Yes, that's a good one. Anyone else? So how can you take what, how can that change you knowing that discomfort is actually a really good thing? How can that change you on your path towards success? Anyone have an idea?
I guess we have to recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
I always just know that when I'm most uncomfortable, I'm doing my most learning.
Yes. Yes. And you know what? That's a really good way to put it, Michelle, because you're doing your most learning, which means you may make a mistake, right? But you're doing it in the name of learning and in the name of growing. And it's not the end of the world if we make a mistake, right? That's a good way to put it. Now, there is another kind of discomfort to watch out for, and that is the discomfort that we get when we are not taking action, when we actually have retreated to our comfort cave, right? That kind of discomfort is the discomfort that you should feel because you're not going for your dreams, right? But you're taking the easy way out. Okay. That kind of discomfort, that's the discomfort that really should make you kind of like as a wake up call of like, oh, I'm really short sighting myself on what I'm capable of doing here. So, Okay, so misjudging discomfort. When you experience discomfort, do not let it get you off track. Be motivated by it in any way that you can. Okay, you're headed in the right direction. You're headed in a good direction. Okay. All right. Second way we sabotage ourselves has to do with when that discomfort arises. And that is we do something called buffering. And as a matter of fact, I was thinking this morning because something's going on with my phone where I try to load emails and it just like circle, 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 circle for like 3 minutes before it'll actually load the email. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, my phone is buffering. Okay. When we buffer, buffering is an activity that we do when we're feeling discomfort as a way to alleviate the discomfort. But what we don't realize is that when we are partaking in that buffering behavior, we actually are increasing the amount of discomfort that we're experiencing. So, what are those buffering behaviors? You may be familiar with some of these. When you're feeling discomfort, to try to get out of the discomfort, you walk into the kitchen and you grab a snack. Okay. Snacking is a very popular buffering behavior. Okay. Yeah. So when I'm feeling discomfort and I start to get that feeling in my stomach and that anxiety and tightness in my arms, I'm like, oh, I need a snack. Oh, I need some chocolate. Right. That'll make me feel better. Okay. Really, what it does is it increases my discomfort because I still have to come back and do the thing that I was going to do anyways. And now I have to like work out longer to make, to burn off that snack that I just had. So we buffer by snacking. Some people buffer with alcohol, with drinking. Okay. We try to escape the discomfort of something and we turn to alcohol to do that. That creates a whole plethora of other problems for us. Some of us buffer with TV. Do you ever notice that you're sitting binge watching? I'm trying to think of a show that people binge watch. Ted Lasso. We'll go with Ted Lasso. I love Ted Lasso. That you find yourself like, I'm just going to watch one and then I'll get back to work. And then before you know it, it's like 5 hours later and you've watched the whole series and you're like, what just happened? Now I have to go back to work. And now I've really got to hustle because I wasted all that time watching TV. Sitting and watching TV is, we're able to like remove ourselves from the situation physically, but also mentally. Okay. But it is one of those buffering behaviors that we participate in. Another one is picking up our phones and spending time online. I was talking to one of my Project U coaching groups last night or Monday night, and we were talking about how often we pick up our phone during the day. Try to be aware of what is going on when you find yourself picking up your phone. Is it because you're truly curious what's going on Facebook? Or is it because you're trying to avoid working, like something's hard? Like seriously, my phone is never away from my reach. And I notice that when I'm working and when things get a little tight for me, often I will reach for my phone for that little break and that little bit of relief. Okay. Maybe shopping is a buffering activity for you, either going on Amazon or going to Target, going to the actual store. Okay. Do you do that because you really need to get something, or do you do it as a way of escaping the discomfort? Maybe that discomfort for you is a boredom. Okay. And then this one I don't have a problem with, but I know some people who do. Buffering with cleaning. Okay. Like, something's messy here or something is hard for me over here. I'm going to go clean the bathroom. Somebody told me the other day, like scrubbing the tile in their bathroom with the toothbrush. I'm like, yes, but that is totally buffering. Like you're avoiding the discomfort. When we take ourselves away from the path towards getting the work done, towards doing the hard things, and we participate in these buffering activities, it's another way that we sabotage our way to success. So anybody have any favorite buffering activities they'd like to share or how they sabotage with buffering?
Well, I've worked on the food one and the watching TV one. Those were my favorites before. And now the life coach school and all that has helped all that. So I don't do that. But I find that if I have a decision to make about my business, I might research 1,000 things for 3
Yes.
days, like,
Yes.
and instead of just making a decision about what program I want to use or platform or how I want to do something, I got to see 10 examples and I got to
Mhm.
do all these things and I should just do it. Or I don't make the program that I want to make because I think, well, I need to take another course. I need to
Mhm.
watch another webinar and then I'll know exactly what I'm supposed to do. And that's where, so that buffering for me is like learning. And it seems like exactly what I should be doing. It doesn't, like if I'm eating or watching TV or whatever, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But
Yes.
when I'm working,
Mhm.
like, because I feel like that's part of my work, it tricks me to think, oh, well, I've been working, but really I wasn't working because
Right.
I should just make a decision. So I always feel like that one's the trickiest one because it seems like you should be doing it
Mhm.
and you're not, you don't need to do that much of it.
Research in the name of work,
Yes,
right?
yes. Uh-huh.
Yep. Guilty of that one too. Anyone else have anything they want to share about buffering? Yes, Tammy.
I read a book a long time ago it's by Brian Casey. It's called Eat That Frog. And I
Uh,
think it's trying to tackle like the biggest project for the day. So
mhm.
one of the things that's like in my work duties is that I have to put together like this summary when we're trying to settle a case for workers' comp. And the summary has to go to like all these three upper levels to get the money to do it. And so I think I feel pressure because you have to get authority from all these higher level people that are going to be peering at what you're writing and asking for money for. So the book, when I read it, it said to resist doing low priority tasks. But when I am working on those summaries, I find the most lowest priority task to get
Right?
involved in to avoid finishing that summary that's got to go to all these higher upper level executives to say yay or nay. I mean, I find the
Mhm.
smallest things like things that have been sitting in my email or on my desktop. And it's like all of a sudden I need to just
Guilty.
work on these things. But like you said, still that summary is still looming behind me.
You still have to
So
do
it's
it, right? You still have to do it. Yeah, I like to divide my task list into must do,
mm-hmm,
can do, nice to do.
mm-hmm,
Okay. And I always like by having them not just on one bullet list, because one bullet
mm-hmm.
list, I'm going to go through, I'm going to do the easiest things first, right? But
Right.
dividing them into three different priorities, I know like, oh, look at that. I crossed off everything on my nice to do list today. Nothing is done on the must do list. Okay. So then you can kind of call yourself out. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's a really great book too. I'm going to have to go read it again. I read it many years ago. So, Michelle, did you catch that title? Yes. Awesome. Okay. Number 3 way that we sabotage our success is we wait for perfection. We wait to have all the answers. And then if we don't get perfection, which perfection I'm talking about in terms of what we consider perfection in our own minds. Okay. When we don't get it, then we consider it a failure. We don't take the look at failure as we see the loss, we see like what we didn't do, we didn't get that vision in our mind of what we wanted, and we're like, well, then everything is a loss, instead of figuring out how far we've come and seeing the value in that. Okay, so it's like that all or nothing thinking, like we're either all in and all good, all 100%, or we stunk at it, we didn't do it, we failed. Okay, that all or nothing thinking is going to get you nowhere. You cannot win with perfectionist thinking, because when we think like a perfectionist, we procrastinate. When we procrastinate, imposter syndrome comes in, which causes us to procrastinate even more, which actually is tip number 4. We procrastinate, right? So those are kind of perfectionism and procrastination kind of go together. I'll say that again. When wanting everything to be perfect or waiting for it to be perfect, or waiting to have all the answers, to know all the steps instead of just starting and figuring it out along the way. Okay. That perfectionism causes us to procrastinate while we are waiting, knowing that that big thing is still looming behind us. It still has to be done. Imposter syndrome sneaks in and starts convincing us that we don't know what we're doing. We're never going to figure it out. We're not good enough. We're not smart enough. We're not fast enough. We're not athletic enough. We're not young enough. All of those things start sneaking in that cause us to procrastinate even more. And what happens with that thing that's looming behind us? That goal never gets done. Okay. I've been meaning to write a book for years. As a matter of fact, every time I see my aunt, she's like, how's that book coming? Like, I don't want to talk about it. Okay. Because I have procrastinated to the point where now I've convinced myself I can't do it. That is going to change because I will be publishing a book next year. I just told you all. So now you can all hold me accountable. Okay. So procrastination, perfection go together. Those are two ways that we often will sabotage our success. Okay. Having those standards for ourselves, those high standards for ourselves, and not settling for anything less. The next way we sabotage our success, and this is actually, I believe, the final way that I wanted to talk to you about today. And actually, we talked about it a little bit already. Cynthia talked about it a little bit. She hinted toward it. Spinning in confusion. Okay. Spinning in confusion is a major way that we sabotage our success. We tell ourselves, subconsciously or consciously, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to begin. I don't know what I want my book to be about. I don't know how to start a podcast. I don't know how to start a business. Okay. And instead of taking action and taking that first step, because remember, action brings clarity, ABC, action brings clarity, we choose to sit and spin in confusion. And to me, when I say spin in confusion, I literally do mean like my brain is just like, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. So I do nothing instead of sitting down and actually figuring it out. This is one of the things that I use journaling for, because when I have, here's a little tip for you. If you are a journaler and you journal, you have to do this by hand, not on the computer, because journaling by hand helps you access your subconscious in a way that typing cannot. I will, when I have a question of something that I cannot figure out and I'm tired of spinning in confusion about it, I will sit down and I will say, I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes and I'm going to create a list of every possible thing that I can think of that could be the solution, that could be the next step, that could be the answer. And I am not going to let my pen stop until the timer goes off. That's the key. You can't set the timer and then be like, what should I write next? Okay. What you have to do is if you come to a part where you're like, okay, well, I've got a couple ideas, I can't think of any more. You just keep writing that last one, that last idea, the last thing you wrote, you keep writing it over and over and over again until a new idea comes to you. And a new idea will come to you because as you're writing by hand, you're slowing down your thinking enough, you're getting into your subconscious. The other tip is do not judge anything you put on that list. Because while you're doing that, like imposter syndrome is going to sneak in and they're going to be like, well, that's stupid. You don't want to do that. Why would you want to do something like that? You have to be like, shush, and you keep writing. Okay. So using that journaling, setting the timer for 5 minutes, refusing to let your pen stop, repeating the same line over and over and over is a great way to give yourself some options. Because then what you can do is you can go down the list, and then when you're of a sane mind, you can be like, nope, that's not what I want to do. Before I do that, I have to do this. And then all of a sudden you have a plan. Okay. But you also have to realize it's going to require that awareness on your part to recognize that you're spinning in confusion so that you can get yourself unstuck. As you start to watch for times where you are, one of my clients calls it spinning in the luxury of, she says, I've been indulging in the luxury of confusion. Okay, she considered, and she's right, it is a luxury, right? Because as long as we're in that confusion, we're like standing at the door of our comfort cave, and we don't have to go forward because we don't know what's forward. And we're not quite back because there's still a possibility we can move forward, right? We're just kind of like guarding the door. You need to have that awareness. That is what you're doing. You are choosing to stay stuck. Just as you choose to stay stuck, you can choose to get unstuck. And when you do that, make sure you don't judge yourself for it. Make sure you don't judge yourself for the 2 weeks that you were spinning in confusion about what to do about whatever. Just move forward. Okay. Anybody have experience with spinning in confusion? Want to tell us your story a little bit?
For me, I like to spin out, and I feel more, honestly, it's like I feel more comfortable there, because then I think I'm thinking of something and I'm working through it, but then I'm not actually working through it. So my brain really likes to attach to perfection and confusion. And then I'm taking no action, but I think I am, because I'm thinking about it so much. And then I don't know where to go.
That's the same thing with, like, I'm researching for work.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, as long as, I'll read one more article. I'll do one more thing. Yeah, I love that. That's a great example. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else out there confused? You experience confusion, Tammy?
Yeah, mine's is I don't find it to be like, I guess it's self-serving in a way, but I don't find it to be therapeutic. I almost feel like it exhausts me. Like, I have all these thoughts, and like, I mean, sometimes I have thought so much, like I felt like I have like physically worked out when all it was just all these, and like you said, by the time you get to around to doing all of that, how can you put anything into action? Because you're just over exhausted by just all of the stuff you circled around. Like, it's such a colossal waste of time, but you engage in it. But I don't find it to be therapeutic. At least I don't think I do, because when I'm just like,
right,
like my end result is pretty much that. I just feel like I've worked a 12-hour work day, and all I did was just stay in my head.
Well, and if you think about it, then the primal brain has done its job, right? Because it has exhausted you enough that you don't have the energy or the enthusiasm to go and do the thing now today. So it won, you lost. Right?
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe Linda, I don't know if you've seen any research on this, but I once read about how many calories you burn thinking. And
yeah, I remember.
Right? Like, I don't remember, but like, thinking burns a lot of calories.
It seemed, when the article came out, it seemed like it's a couple of calories per minute.
Yeah.
But like 3 calories a minute, and you waste an hour farting around thinking about nothing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of calories to just sit on your butt and worry. But, yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I can't remember what the exact number was, but I was like, interesting. Anyone else have any?
I experience it during the night. I'm up most of the night just spinning around all these thoughts.
Yeah.
And I don't think I just shut it off.
Yep. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add about that?
Yeah, I'm like Cynthia in terms of buffering with programs. And so my spinning and confusion is about what program to do next.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I tried to constrain myself to one program. At the moment, I'm in 3. And still, I spent the first 30 minutes of my day this morning looking at all these other programs and something that closed at midnight. And did it really close at midnight? Maybe I can still get in. It's just, but that's the spinning and confusion that I seem to indulge in.
Yes, your
on
brain
the
does
daily.
not want you to move forward. So it's like, oh, new offer. Oh, new offer. Oh, check this out. Ooh, right?
This is the program. This is the one that'll get you over to that next level.
Right. You know what gets you over to the next level? You
doing it.
You doing it. There's no way to get there other than you. You just have to decide, I'm done. I'm done consuming. I'm taking action. Okay. I experienced, to me, like I had a launch of a workshop. And so I spent like 3 weeks full charge for this workshop. And when it was done, I was exhausted, like just from the work of prepping for the workshop. And I thought to myself, oh, I think I need to take it easy this week. Okay, well, 1 week turned into 2 weeks. And then I'm like, I don't know what I should do next. Like there's 3 things I could do. So I'm just going to sit here and think about the 3 things and not really take action on any of them. I was able to catch myself and I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? It's total self-sabotage. I made an appointment with my coach and within an hour, we had a plan. Okay. That's the beauty of working with a coach, is that they can catch you and see, because they're not in your head, to see all that like justification that we're doing. Right. And they're able to point that out to you and help you get unstuck. So that is, those are 5 ways that we sabotage our success. Now, before I ask if there's any other questions or anything before we hang it up for today, I wanted to tell you guys next week is going to be the last Lunch and Learn workshop for this year. I will probably be doing more workshops, maybe not every week. It might be monthly, I don't know, but that'll be after the first of the year. But I do have plans to start a podcast. So I'll be taking the topics I've been doing in Lunch and Learn, and I'll be putting them into podcast format. So you can be watching for that as well. Next week, I believe I'm going to talk about fear because it's getting close to Halloween. And I thought we needed to talk about fear. So that will be that. And just to give you guys a heads up, on, I believe, Saturday, December 3rd, which is still a month away, I'm going to be doing a big, probably couple hour, I think I'm going to call it, I'm still planning it. This is one of the 3 things that I had in mind that my coach is like, get this straight. It's going to be 2023, the year of me, ultimate planning party. How can you show up for yourself and create the year that you want to create for yourself? More details coming on that. I just wanted to mention it all to you guys to kind of put it in the back of your head. It's going to be a lot of fun. Does anybody have any questions about self-sabotage, final comments, takeaways, feedback, anything you want to share? No, we're all good. Everybody's going to go back to work. All right. If you have any questions, you can always reply to any of the emails I send to you. I'd be happy to talk with you. I'd be happy to sit down and talk with you personally about how I can help you and all that other good stuff. So thank you so much for being here today. I hope to see you again next week. Please come back and join me. We're going to talk about fear. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. I'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Michelle.